Natalia. I'm here today with I've got no makeup on, which means I'm going to be doing a foundation first impression slash review slash demo of the Marc Jacobs Genius Gel Foundation. I've got the number 66 Fawn Deep. This is what they've colour matched me to at Sephora, and I was there probably about a month ago now. So I'm going to be interested to see how this colour matches. I do find it very, very hard to find foundations dark enough for my skin colouring. Is the worst thing for it to be here in Australia with dark skin. I'm actually decided I'm going to go to a Priceline and swatch the darkest shade of every foundation they've got and see what actually comes close to my skin colour, because I can't. It's ridiculous, and I feel really, really sorry for people in Australia who've actually got darker skin than me, because my skin's not that dark. I'm not crazy, crazy dark. So anyway, that's coming up soon. But today I'm here to talk about the Marc Jacobs. Okay, the packaging is beautiful. Really, it's like this little tablet sort of shape, rounded edges, the frosted glass. It's just, oh, I love the packaging. It just feels luxury and high-end, which is good because the price tag was luxury and high-end. I think I paid about $62 or $68 for this foundation here in Australia, so it is pricey. It's actually not it's not actually the most expensive foundation I've got. The most expensive foundation I've got is the Ellis Fast Skin Vow foundation, which I've done a full review and demo of that one. So I'm going to link that down below if you are interested to go and check that out. I'm just going to put 2 pumps out. So that's what you get for 2 pumps. So it's a fair amount of product. Like that. No, it's not really running, so it is a bit of a thicker consistency. I'm going to be applying it with a damp beauty blender as well, so I'm just going to start dotting it on my face. I'm not going to use a primer because I want to really test how it works without a primer, because if it just falls off my face within an hour, then I'll say definitely put a primer on. Like, that's not even a problem. But I just want to see if it does sort of last a really, really long time without a primer. I do want to know that, so I'm just going to start applying that. The colour so far looks okay. It looks like it might lean a little bit orange, but we will see. It's looking a little bit orange. I hope it doesn't oxidize and go really, really orange. So for prepping my skin, I have just cleansed and put moisturizer on about 20 minutes ago, so the moisturizer is really just soaked into my skin. I've got like these spots that are just sort of clearing up around here and here. Apart from that, the rest of my skin is looking okay. It's very smooth. There's no really bad textures or anything on my skin that I can feel. My skin is being very, very smooth at the moment. This is really the only problem area that I've got here, so I want to see if it does cover that. So I'm going to sort of zoom in now so you can see a little bit closer. Okay, so let's just start pushing it on with the beauty blender. So it is much more of a sheer light coverage foundation. It is adding coverage, but like it's adding colour, but I can still see everything through it. So if you are wanting a full coverage foundation, this probably isn't the way to go. I might actually see if I can put a little bit more just on those problem areas with my fingers and just sort of pat it in that way and see if that adds a little bit more coverage. Maybe the beauty blender is just shearing it out a bit too much. So let's just try that. So it is covering a little bit more. So if you want a bit of a thicker coverage, then definitely go and use your fingers or a brush maybe. Whereas that beauty blender really did give a really, really sheer wash of colour. I really do love how the beauty blender pushed into the skin. That really, you can't see it on my skin whatsoever. It just really feels like a skin and it looks like skin. So I do like that. Yeah. I did need to go over these darker areas, but that's all my foundations. You still see that underneath. I need to go in with a really, really highly pigmented concealer just to cover those areas up. So that's not really an issue for me. I think overall, if I had any redness on my cheeks area, that has gone completely. It has just sort of evened everything out. Like, it doesn't seem to have accentuated any pores around my nose yet, which is really cool. And it just feels so lightweight and comfortable. I'm just going to take, I'm just a little bit worried that it might oxidize a bit, so I'm just going to take this further down my neck. So that is it on. That was just a really, really light layer. So if you are wanting a bit more of a sheerer coverage, the beauty blender is definitely the way to go. If your skin is beautiful, that would be a really, really lovely foundation because it just looks like skin. It feels like skin. It's not too heavy. It's not cakey whatsoever. It's not settling into any lines. It's not accentuating any pores. It's not bringing out any sort of imperfections, and it doesn't bring out any texture on my skin either. So from first application, it seems like a really nice dewy foundation. Very, very lightweight. It doesn't feel like anything. It just looks like skin, which is what I really, really like about it. It's not too thick. Like you can feel your skin breathing. It's not like it doesn't feel like I've got anything on my skin. It's not feeling tacky at all, like it's sort of just really settled in. I'm not sure if I should powder. No. Okay, what I might do is I'm actually going to just powder my cheek area because I'm going to put a bit of blush on. I'm not doing much today. It's Australia Day here, a public holiday. I'm literally just going to stay at home, and my parents coming over for lunch. Then we're going to go to the movies with my husband later on. So I want a little bit of makeup in, but not too much. I just really want to test this. So I'm literally just going to put a little bit of, just a little touch of powder here, a little touch of powder there where I'm going to like contour and blush. So I've just put a little bit of powder on my cheeks. I'm going to put a little bit of concealer on. I'm going to do the rest of my makeup, see how it settles into my skin, and I'll be back soon with a bit more of an update. So it's about 11:45 now. I've had the foundation on for about 45 minutes, I would say. I've just, as I said, I just powdered my cheeks just so I could put some contour and blush and highlighter on. I haven't done any other powdering on my face. I feel like it's still quite dewy. It's not like it's oily, but it's still got that dewy look to it, which probably looks a little bit oily. So if you've got really dry skin, this would be fantastic. If you've got oily skin, probably I would say powder it down to get rid of that oily look, but you're kind of defeating the purpose because it's more of a dewy foundation. So just go for a matte foundation if you are very oily, because I'm not sure if this would be suited for you. It hasn't sort of settled into lines and it's still sort of sitting on my skin quite nicely, and certainly hasn't oxidized, which is my main concern with this foundation. So I'll sort of come back at the end of the day and just sort of show you how it's worn throughout the rest of the day. Like I said, I'm just going to go have lunch now with my family. It's a bit humid, it's raining, it's not too hot today, so it's a good day to test. It's not just going to melt off my face. And then I'll probably go to the movies later on this afternoon or this evening, so I'll certainly come back and keep you updated how I've gone with the Marc Jacobs Genius Gel Foundation. So it's about 2:30 in the afternoon, 4 hours after I initially applied the foundation, and it seems to be holding up really well. I haven't put any primer on and I haven't powdered except on my cheek area, just so I could do my powder, blush and contour and stuff. But on my nose I haven't powdered anywhere else on my face. I feel like it is holding up really well. Like my nose is a little bit oily, but I sort of get that from any foundation. I'm still trying to find the perfect mattifying primer for my nose area. I feel like I might be breaking up a little bit around this area, but again, where I'm usually a bit oily. But everywhere else, like my jawline and everything, still feels like it is holding up really well. I'm about to head out to the movies now, and I'm just going to do a bit of a powder on that nose area just because I just feel like it's a little bit too oily. So there you go. So I've powdered. It seems to be fine. I'm not seeing anything breaking up around my jawline. So I'm just going to go now to the movies, and I'll come back later on this afternoon to give you a final update of how it's held up throughout the day. So it's been on for about 4 hours now, and I'm pretty happy with it. So I'll come back and let you know how I go later. Okay, I'm back. It's about 7 PM now, and it's still light, thank God. But it's been about 8 hours since I have applied the foundation, and it's holding up pretty well. I am very oily around my nose area, and it has started to break away just down the side of my nose, but I didn't have any primer on whatsoever. Like I've got no oil controlling primer anywhere on my face, so I think it's actually held up really well. All the side of my face is still there, even my jawline is still 100% intact. It hasn't sort of wore away, it hasn't accentuated any lines that I have. I think it's really held up considering how long I have been wearing it. I did powder my nose before going to the movies, so that hasn't sort of held that oil at bay, but that's just the oil situation. If I was wearing a mattifying primer underneath, it probably would have lasted a lot longer. So based on that, I am going to give this foundation a 2 thumbs up because it has lasted a really long time. If you are someone who's really dry, I think this would be a really good foundation because it has got that dewy finish to it. It does last quite a while, and I mean, apart from the oil situation, if you don't get oily at all, I think this would be really nice for you. For those of you who are a bit oily, you would need to probably put a mattifying primer underneath because it is that glowy finish. So if you don't want to have a dewy finish, I guess people who are more oily don't go for dewy foundations because it can just look too much on their skin, especially when the oil starts shining through. They can just look like a big oily mess. So either really need to powder it down, or maybe sort of avoid this one if you don't want to have to mattify a glowy foundation because it sort of defeats the purpose. So that's my demo and review on the Marc Jacobs Genius Gel Foundation. I really like it. I just need to find a good mattifying primer to put under my nose, and I think that will work really well for me. So thank you so much for watching this review. I hope if you liked it, give it a thumbs up, but don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!